You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans, we've got Willow distraught after catching Drew with Jacinda, the friendly neighborhood call girl. But things may turn around soon for Congressman Cutthroat, even though it looks very dire right now. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about how Willow may be the one to find out the truth about what happened to her honey, Drew, with no idea that her mother, Nina, is to blame for her heartbreak. All right, right now, Willow, of course, couldn't believe her eyes after catching Drew in bed and then the Jacinda hooker girl in his shirt looking like she just took a ride on the D train. And of course, when Willow walked in, Jacinda really amped up things to maximize the damage. And Willow can't believe that he would betray her this way. And she ran out of the house while Drew was still trying to wake up and figure out what happened. Willow ran, but Drew couldn't pursue, even though he was calling out after her because he's got a ketamine hangover. That's a real medical thing I looked up today. So Willow went crying to her mom, Nina, bawled her eyes out, got all the hugs. And of course, Willow got all the comfort from her mom. And Nina took advantage to press her agenda, saying, this may be who Drew has been all along. But even while distraught and hurt in that moment, Willow told Nina this is not like the Drew that she knows and loves. But Nina kept prodding her in the direction she wanted. And so she's got Willow wondering if she missed some sort of red flags. He's some closet alcoholic or something. That's where Nina has her. Willow's so hurt and angry that I know it looks like she may be done with Drew, but it's not over yet. He's at Nina's door because he knows Willow would run to her mother. And by the end of this week, he's pleading his case to her. But first, Willow is furious and screaming she may lose her kids because of him. She probably feels like that she couldn't convince a judge that she and Drew can provide a stable, healthy, and loving home for her children while he's running around doing body shots off a hooker while the whole town is live streaming it. But before you get too excited thinking that karma has come for Drew and Willow's going to dump him, well, let's slow our roll and talk about it because things are about to flip. No doubt when he asks, she'll let Drew explain himself. I mean, she loves him. She's mad, but she loves him. He's going to remember that he was with Tracy, that he ordered a drink, and then after that, everything's a blur. So I doubt Drew remembers much, if anything, that went down at the Savoy, but the video does not lie that Nina showed her daughter. And of course, Willow's going to doubt everything he's saying because it seems crazy. However, with Drew insisting he has pretty much no memory of the events of the night before, Willow may slow up and listen. I mean, even Laura, who dislikes him, saw that his actions were very unlike himself. Even Curtis, who hates him, said that he never thought Drew would hurt Willow or cheat on her. So if his enemies have doubts about Drew's behavior, then the woman he loves will also. So once Willow takes a moment to breathe and think, she may start to do some digging to see if Drew could be telling the truth. Don't forget, Willow is a nurse, so she may recognize some signs and symptoms that Drew was drugged. And Willow might be willing to at least consider the possibility and run a blood test on him. Now, also remember, Drew knows that Portia rigs tests of people that she hates. So I kind of think Drew will get a tox screen elsewhere. That is, if they go ahead and do the test. And I think they do because of spoilers from the end of this week. So I could see Willow saying, all right, if what you say is true, you'll agree to a drug test. And Drew may say, okay, no problem. Let's take a test, but not at GH. I don't trust the lab there. And of course, Willow knows sketchy Brad runs the lab, so she may go, oh, well, okay. Because if they went to GH and Nina knew they were doing a tox screen, she'd warn Portia, who would absolutely get Brad to tamper with the results. So hopefully, even though he's got this ketamine hangover, Drew will think twice about using the hospital. And he can say that Brad's the reason to not use that lab, but he knows the larger issue is is Portia. But at the same time, Drew's not going to want to tell Willow he's blackmailing her boss, Portia, and that's why they can't use the GH lab. I think he can sidestep it if the storyline goes the way I expect. And again, I'm working off spoilers for this week, but this is my take on where I think Drew and Willow's story goes next. I do not see this as a big moment of Drew getting dumped. I think he and Willow may be able to clean this all up and further frustrate his enemies, because it seems like the GH writers want to torment fans that hate Drew, which is like all the fans. So they're not going to stop this. Not for a while. That's what I think. So Willow will probably hold out hope that Drew didn't deliberately cheat and humiliate her. And Willow may take Drew to get a tox screen at a trustworthy lab, maybe an independent lab, maybe at Mercy Hospital, the other medical facility in Port Charles. And if they get a drug test done, yeah, it'll show ketamine in Drew's system 100%. And that would help him salvage his relationship with Willow. But Drew's also got to figure out who did this and how he can rehab his public image. Now, given that he just threatened Portia and she has access to ketamine, if they do a tox screen, Drew will know that she's at the root of it. He's not dumb. And I bet he would find a way to punish Portia and expose her. So spoilers for Friday say that Max Scorpio learns that a crime was committed. So I suspect Drew and Willow go down and report that he was drugged. There's two ways this can tie back to Portia and wreck her life. First, Willow could access the pharmacy logs and see that Brad used his badge to get in there the day Drew was drugged. And of course, that would tie back to his boss. Or Mac might get a warrant for the logs and they look into it. Whoever investigates the medicine storage at GH is going to see that a bottle of ketamine is missing, and that should lead to Brad. And from there, whether it's Mac, Dante, or whatever detective questioning Brad, he would throw Portia under the bus. I don't think he'd hesitate. And of course, Brad would not take the fall for her. I fully expect this ketamine scheme to blow up in Portia's face and Nina's face. And well, okay, let's say Portia's face, maybe Nina, because the big question is whether Portia would drag Nina down with her. Portia may not see the point in ruining Nina's life and relationship with Willow unless Portia thought it would save her butt. And then I do think she would throw Nina under the bus. And certainly, if Drew gets an inkling that Nina's involved, whether Portia outs her or not, that gives Drew a lot of power, because he could tattle to Willow or blackmail Nina. Willow obviously is going to find out eventually that Nina's involved, and it'll probably ruin their relationship as mother and daughter, maybe for good. The other reason for Drew to take the step of filing criminal charges with Mac for his drugging is to rehab his public image, and having somebody to blame for what happened would help. So imagine the worst case outcome for Portia. The ketamine's traced to Brad, who rats out his boss, and from there, Mac tells Drew what they found out, and Brad could make things worse, because I could see Drew turning around and threatening Brad and forcing him to go ahead and also tell the PCPD about Portia's test tampering on Heather's test, because that would prove a track record of her doing illegal and bad things through the hospital, absolutely cost her medical license. Then Drew can come out, make a big public statement that the wife of his former best friend Curtis targeted him and could have killed him with ketamine. Drew could drag Portia through the mud at a press conference, and her arrest would seal it, and then Drew would be a victim rather than some horny congressman. It could clean everything up for him. It could even generate public sympathy. So in the end, Curtis may find out about Portia's dirty deeds in the worst possible way. Curtis will likely dump Portia for lying and doing all these shady things. And it would be pretty ironic if Willow stayed with Drew and he bounced back from this just fine, but instead it blew up Portia's life. I mean, at this point, that's what I expect. And not because I'm on Team Drew, by the way. It's just that the GH writers always set it up so he gets away with everything, and I don't think they're going to stop. And OMG, if he can keep Willow and find a way to tie this drugging thing, from Curtis to Portia to other enemies like Laura, well, that could sway the Esplanade vote the way he wants, and Drew could make it a whole thing about mob sympathizers targeting him. This could actually be a good thing that's happened to Drew. If you can imagine it at this point, I actually actually don't think he's going to lose a thing because of it, but we'll see.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.